Compact SUVs is where all the action is at. It started with the Ford EcoSport, the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza. It took the segment to a whole next level. Then we had the Tata Nexon, which really turned around Tata Motors' fortunes. And now we have the Hyundai Venue, which is the compact SUV that the whole country really is excited about.
When we were at the first drives of the Venue in Shillong last week, we asked you for your questions on Instagram and you gave us a bunch of them. We've picked out the 10 best, the 10 most relevant questions, and we're going to answer them for you today. I'm in the back seat of the Hyundai Venue and I'm a lucky man. I've got the boss driving me around today. Sirish is 5'9". He doesn't sit very close to the steering wheel, and despite that, I've got a fair amount of room between my knees and the back seat. There's about 2 inches of space here. It's adequate. There is decent thigh support, but what you need to remember is that this is a narrow car. So if you've got 3 abreast in the back seat, it might be a little tight. In terms of storage, you've got 2 cup holders in the armrest, and you've got a door pocket on either end that can probably hold a 1-liter bottle. You've also got creature comforts in the sense that you've got rear AC vents, you've got a charging socket down there, and this AC vent allows you to control the vent flow, so you can shut the vent if you want to or leave it on depending on how you like it. That said, this is still not the most spacious car in the segment. That is the Nexon, so let's head there. I'm in the back seat of the Nexon now, and in terms of legroom, I've certainly got more space here. I've got almost 4 inches of free space between my knees and the seat in front of me. In terms of width, this is a wider car, so you're going to be more comfortable with 3 people sitting abreast. And in terms of creature comfort, things are pretty much on par, but this is interesting because the Nexon has blower vents which you can control the speed of. So you can turn it off, or you can control it to 2 different speed settings, either low or high, almost like the vents up front. Otherwise, you've got 2 cup holders in the armrest, and you've got 2 door pockets. Door pockets are a little strange shape. You can probably fit in a 1-liter bottle there, but it'll sit all funny, it'll sit almost sideways.
And it's the same in the front. In the front door pockets, you can put 1-liter bottles quite comfortably, but you slide them backwards. So if you brake hard, the bottle might slide out. And this is the first car I've seen that you put the bottles backwards. And it's the same with this space here under the center armrest. You slide the cover back to front, not front to back. It's completely ulta. Also, in terms of the build quality and the quality of materials used in the interiors, the Nexon is a bit wanting.
In terms of space, the Venue does compromise a little bit. It isn't as spacious as the most spacious SUV in class. However, what it does score points on is the quality of materials used on the inside and the fit and finish levels. So you may not be getting the most spacious car in the Venue, but you're certainly getting a more comfortable, a well-finished, a more expensive feeling car.
And better in terms of ergonomics.
To properly judge the ride quality of the Venue, we put it up against the best riding SUV in the class, which happens to be, once again, the Tata Nexon.
The engineers over at Tata Motors, they've really sorted out their ride and handling. Their cars ride well and they also handle well. Now they've given the Nexon good tires, good Goodyear tires, and it grips well. There is a lot of bite from the front end. There's a good resistance to understeer. It is actually an enthusiastic little compact SUV. It does not feel light, it does not feel flighty or scary. In fact, it feels planted. It gives you confidence. But how does it compare against the Venue? That's what we are here to find out. In terms of the ride and handling, the Venue actually has a very European setup to the ride. It is a bit firm, it's got a touch of sportiness to it, it grips well, of course. It's not that plush, but unlike Hyundai's in the past, it does not wallow, it does not float. It actually feels very nice to drive. I really like it. I'm really impressed with the handling of the Venue. The overall ride and handling balance I think it is perfectly judged. Ford have rightly earned a reputation for themselves in terms of ride and handling. The Figo, the Fiesta, that very first Mondeo that they brought to India, all were great fun to drive cars. And it's no different with the EcoSport. This is one of the more fun SUVs to drive. But it also feels like a Figo whose ride height has been jacked up. And that means that it feels a bit top heavy, it feels a bit tall, and that robs you of ultimate confidence when you're really pushing it around corners. It doesn't feel as planted and stable, and it feels a little bouncy and jumpy, unlike the Venue. Hyundai do not talk platforms, so the Venue, it could have been developed from the i20 platform, it could be a scaled down Creta platform, don't know, but it feels like a brand new platform. No other Hyundai really feels like it. In fact, all the Hyundais from the i20 onwards, all of them have improved the ride and handling on the dynamic front. They've all gotten better, and the Venue, I think, now is the best driving Hyundai. And in that sense, I don't mean just the best driving Hyundai. I mean that in its class, it is the nicest to drive. It feels the most sporty, it feels the most engaging, but it all does that without the compromises. It does not feel as heavy as the Nexon does. It does not feel as jumpy as the EcoSport does. It is well rounded, it is well balanced, and the setup is actually on the money. So is the Venue more sporty than the EcoSport? For sure. You take it up this hill road and the Venue is quicker. You take it to a racetrack and the Venue will be quicker. And it does it without feeling too stiff or too firm.
The Hyundai Venue is packed with plenty of features. The top of the line variant that we are driving gets all sorts of goodies on the outside, like LED DRLs, projector headlamps and fog lamps, cornering lights, LED taillights, and 16-inch diamond-cut alloy wheels. On the inside is where things get really interesting. You get leatherette and fabric seats, a sunroof, an 8-inch touchscreen display, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, an Arcamis sound system, and a whole suite of connectivity options with Hyundai Blue Link. This Blue Link allows you to remotely access your car from your phone, get live updates of its whereabouts, check its security, and do all sorts of other cool stuff with the car. In terms of safety, you get driver and passenger airbags as standard, while the top trim gets side and curtained airbags as well. You also get ABS, ESC, and Hill Start Assist. The Venue really sets the benchmark for what you can expect from a car at this price point, with features that cars in classes above it don't have yet.
Of all the compact SUVs here, it is the Nexon that feels most like an SUV. It has this grown-up, rugged feel to it. You can put it into potholes, these poor roads, and it just flattens everything. It does not feel like a small, compact SUV that jumps and hops around. It actually is very stable, very planted. At times, you don't even notice the speed breakers because it just flattens it. There, we went over a speed breaker, did not even feel it. It actually is pretty good. And that SUV feel is also enhanced by the steering, which is a bit heavy. It's not too light, it's not too flighty. There's not too much in the way of feel, but it gives you good resistance to the steering, and that gives it that planted feel, that feeling of stability, and the feeling of strength and solidity. And the good thing is that Tata Motors are now making better cars. They're making better built cars. So even if you dump it into potholes and throw it around on bad roads, it's not going to rattle or shake itself to bits. This particular test example has done 16,000 odd kilometers, no squeaks, no rattles, it's still feeling tight, and that's a good thing. Not for nothing is the Brezza the bestseller. It showed that a compact SUV could be built at a price without compromising on engineering or styling. But that was some time ago, and now the Brezza is beginning to feel a bit long in the tooth, a bit noisy too. This 1.3 diesel engine is pretty audible. There is a fair bit of turbo lag, but when it comes on song, it does move, even though it is the smallest engine in this lot. This 1.3 diesel engine is not going to be there for much longer. The upgrade to the Brezza will get the new 1.5 diesel engine because this 1.3 will not meet upcoming BS6 norms, and that's when we will get an all-new Brezza. And it can't come a moment too soon. The Brezza on the interiors is feeling a little old in terms of the design, in terms of the quality of materials used, and most of all, in terms of the features. It does not have half the stuff that the Venue has. And the pricing is on par. And that tells you just how much the Venue has moved the game on. Can the Venue be a bestseller? For sure. Look at the example of the Creta. It's now 5 years in the market. It still does 10,000 units and it is expensive. The top end variants are 16-17 lakh rupees. The Venue is in a segment that is extremely price sensitive and Hyundai haven't overpriced it. Not like the Santro. I think the Santro, the pricing was a little off when it was launched, but the Venue is bang on the money and that will really do it wonders. Plus it is extremely well engineered. It is good fun to drive. It's got a ton of features. Everything that you could ask for, the Venue really has. It has all the makings of a bestseller.
The Venue is priced very aggressively by Hyundai as its base petrol manual variant undercuts the XUV 300 by rupees 1.3 lakhs. It undercuts the EcoSport by a similar margin and rupees 6.5 lakhs. Only the Nexon comes close. Enthusiasts interested in the turbo petrol manual variants won't be disappointed as the fully loaded SXO variant undercuts the top spec Ford EcoSport S by rupees 23,000 and the top spec XUV 300 by around rupees 89,000. As for the diesel manuals, the Venue starts at rupees 7.75 lakhs and is closely matched to the Vitara Brezza and the Tata Nexon. The starting price for the XUV 300 and the EcoSport is higher. The top spec diesel manual variant of the Venue is pricier than the Brezza and the Nexon, but looking at the amount of additional kit that the Venue offers, the higher price can be justified. The Venue, the EcoSport and the Nexon all offer petrol automatic variants. Here, the Nexon shines as it starts at rupees 7.93 lakhs, while the Venue starts at rupees 9.35 lakhs. Only the Nexon and the Brezza offer diesel automatics, and the top spec variants of both these SUVs are closely matched. Overall, the Hyundai Venue has been priced rather aggressively and does well considering the amount of features and the amount of tech it brings into this segment.
Let's talk about noise inside the cabin first. I must say that the Venue scores very highly in this department. Start up the engine. There's not too much of that typical diesel clatter entering into the cabin. Even on the go, once the revs rise, it's well isolated from the outside. Tire noise isn't too bad. It's a well cocooned cabin, especially in terms of what it's up against. Other diesels in this segment can be quite noisy. As for the sound system, it's a real highlight. The Akamis sound system sounds great. I've been fooling around with this thing all day and I'm really enjoying the music. I don't know how much of this is being picked up by the mic, but it's good high quality music. If you're an audiophile, you'd be able to tell when you're sitting in the car, not through the screen.
So this question applies not only to the Baleno but also to the Elite i20 and the Polo. The price difference between the top end Baleno diesel and the Venue diesel is around 2 lakh rupees, and for that extra money on the Venue you get more features. You get BlueLink, that whole connectivity suite of apps. You get wireless charging, you get ESP, plus you get a car that rides better, that handles better, that feels more robust, like an SUV, sort of like an SUV that can handle a beating. You get more ground clearance, so when it starts raining you don't have to be worried. You get a car that looks really cool and feels very premium and sophisticated. In fact, you really get quite a lot for your money. Should you spend 2 lakh rupees more and upgrade to a compact SUV? I think you should.
So Sirish, now for the final question. Is the Hyundai Venue the best sub 4 meter SUV that you can buy right now?
Yes, for sure. The Brezza is starting to feel old and dated, both in the way it drives and especially on the inside. The Nexon, nice to drive, but there are just too many small little quality issues that really don't stand it up compared to these other cars here. The EcoSport, if you remember, that was the first sub 4 meter SUV, and even though it's got a mild facelift, it is old and again it is feeling dated. So the Venue is got good ride, good handling, good engines, great features, good pricing, and for a sub 4 meter SUV, it crucially does not feel compromised. This is the winner of the sub 4 meter category.
That's our verdict. Do like this video, leave a comment, and make sure you subscribe to our channel to follow everything that we're up to.